Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Rick Coluccio, and perhaps you normally see me from the Recruiting EQ podcast. This is my live report for Raymond George Engaged. Quick recap of what we do at Raymond George Engaged. We are an engaged or retained rec-to-rec firm, right? So executive search firms, consulting firms, staffing agencies, search firms, recruiting agencies, all of the above. We'll retain our services to find top talent, right? So that's kind of what we do. And I'll start with our role of the week. Role of the week is it's an executive search opportunity. This is in the industrials market, but primarily in like the engineering, emerging technologies, some really cutting edge stuff in robotics, et cetera, which was very cool that they're working on. This is kind of a fast track position, right? So let's say you're at an executive search firm and you moved from associate to, or pardon me, you start from like, let's say as a researcher and you're moving up through the ranks as an associate and into a consultant. This is kind of like a senior consultant role with a very quick path to principal and then also to associate partner. So depending on where you're at, maybe you have a quick path to that already. Maybe you're killing it. You're making lots of money. You're happy where you are. That's totally fine. But perhaps you know somebody or maybe you yourself are struggling with the idea in the firm where you're like, I'm performing well, but before I get any kind of action in terms of promotion or change in comp plan, it's going to be 5 years and it's going to be 10 years before I'm associate partner, or 8 years, let's say. This is probably a track where it's possible. Obviously, all of this is performance driven, but it is absolutely possible to get into an associate partner seat in, let's say, 5-6 years from just coming in as a consultant, which I think is doable at some other places, but it's a bit rare. This is very realistic. And then, of course, when you're in that associate partner position, you're making great money. So I'd love to talk about those details with you. If you're in industrials or interested in that space, send me a direct message and let's have a chat about the role. That's our role of the week. Item number 2, tool of the week. It's a little while now that I've been talking about Atlas the ATS, because we've been making our migration over from our former ATS to Atlas. And we actually just completed migrating our legacy data from our old ATS. This is one of the biggest pain points for me. I've done a lot of data migrations, non-staffing and now staffing in my professional career. I've been involved in them at different stages, and it is always a giant pain, or at least almost always. Through no one's fault. I mean, it's just obviously you got to learn a new system, you got to bring over all your data, but like a lot of data is lost, or it's in the wrong place, or you get a couple of meetings and then you basically your data is migrated over, and you kind of just have to live with it. And maybe you can do a little cleanup, but I haven't had great experiences until now. I would say that the Atlas approach to doing this, it wasn't like one long grueling meeting and then that's it, you just deal with it. They had a lot of really great interactive and AI friendly process. We had a couple of quick calls and nudges, check-ins. They asked me for very specific things to show them not just what our data is, but how we use it. So overall, I am blown away by what a great job they did. And now the data will be migrated and we'll be able to be rocking and rolling in a way that I was scared. I'll be honest with you. I'm always a little scared when anybody changes system, because you've got you spend so much time curating this amazing data, and then you try and transfer over and you're like, great, now we've got to quote unquote start over. That is not the case at all. So rave reviews from them, 5 stars on the migration. Highly recommend. Anybody who's thinking about going to Atlas or who wants more information about why we switched to them or why we like Atlas, I'm happy to get in a call with you. Reach out to me or one of my colleagues and we can have a chat with you about it. That is item number 2. Item number 3, sort of a market update. This is what I'm going to do. I was doing a World Cup update, but that's over because I'm in Toronto. We had World Cup fever for a little while there. But now we'll go with market updates going forward. Obviously, I only see a bit of the market, and what I see is mostly recruiting firms and executive search firms, consulting firms, and that kind of stuff, right? But they are often an indicator of what's happening in their respective fields. So if, IT recruiting agencies are scrambling to hire BD people, it means, they see that the market is going in a way they've got to expand in a certain new division or something along those lines. If they're hiring a lot of recruiters, it means that their salespeople have picked up a whole bunch of orders and now they need 360s or recruiters to fill those jobs, right? So there's indicators. Obviously, if it's just 1 or 2 people hiring, that doesn't tell me much. But if multiple people in similar or even different verticals across the country, coast to coast, are looking for the same thing, you can infer, okay, hang on a second, something's happening here. Disparate people who don't know each other, who are in different markets, are all sort of scrambling to do these projects. And that is kind of what we're seeing this summer. I'll be honest with you, I think my theory is a lot of it is just because hiring slowed down during the spring, which is usually the busy time of the year. It didn't stop, but it slowed down because of political reasons and economic reasons, stock market, gas prices, etc. But so I think there's some catch up that's being played, right? People are trying to get in their hiring quotas now, but this is the new normal, right? You got to sort of capitalize on the waves when they happen. So if you are a senior person in recruitment, in executive search, particularly if you are client side, right? I know the job I mentioned earlier was on the delivery side, but particularly if you are client side, if you are in new logo BD, client side and executive search, or you are a sales leader, right up to like a partner level person, really, in a recruiting firm or a search firm, now's a good time to have a chat. Happy to just have a chat, even if you're not looking right now, about benchmarking information, about what other people are doing. So a lot of cool perks getting thrown around. There's a lot more remote roles than we saw for a long time, like fully remote, juicy roles. There's a lot more managerial roles where you can sort of take over a team. There's a lot more strategic teams doing very large scale projects and SOW work. There's real equity stakes on the table, like that actually have equity events coming up in the next few years at several of the companies we're dealing with. So, a lot of the things that are most desirable are actually very tangible, despite the market being weird. I'd say it's worth exploring, or at least having a chat. So feel free to reach out to me or any of my colleagues here at Raymond George. Other than that, in Canada, it is a long weekend this weekend because of the civic holiday on Monday. So everybody, all my fellow Torontonians and Ontarians, enjoy the long weekend. See you guys next week.